This is the Kalkhoff Agattu Impulse, and it uses Impulse 2, which is sort of a refined, a little bit more powerful version of their setup. And it's just a really, I don't know, it's kind of a beautiful bike. Like, I really appreciate the quality that went into this thing. You can really feel it when you ride around. It's the kind of bike that's built, it's kind of like German engineered, just feels reliable. It feels fluid and solid and quiet, in part because it uses this 8-speed Nexus internally geared hub for pedaling, right? Which you shift here with the grip shifter, and you can actually change that from standstill, which is kind of neat. The other cool thing about this gear shifting on this bike is that the Impulse 2 system actually detects when you're shifting, and it cuts the motor out so that it's not gonna add too much strain when you're shifting. That's something that like the 8Fun or the Evelo or iGo, more basic mid-drive systems, they aren't as sensitive. They don't measure that kind of thing when you're changing gears. So very cool. I want to hit some of the other specs. So as I mentioned, 8-speed Nexus, these nice cranks with decent pedals. The ergonomics on this bike are pretty cool. I'm actually on one of the larger sized models, and it has 700C, like 29-inch wheels. And if you go with the small version, it actually steps the wheel size down to 26. And what that does is lowers the dropouts, because the wheel diameter is smaller, and it lowers the overall platform of the bike, which makes it even easier to get on. So you got this like low step design, multiple wheel sizes depending on which one you choose, really comfortable saddle. Just like not a lot of bikes come with higher quality stuff like this, and this one even has a little, like a seat post bumper, so that's going to smooth out the ride. I've also got this beautiful suspension fork up here with lockout, right? There it's locked, kind of changes to red from green. And they've got these awesome hydraulic rim brakes, front and rear. So rim brakes are cool because they spread out like the heat. If you're using disc brakes, that disc can heat up. Rim brakes give you a higher mechanical advantage because you're braking out here instead of here and spreading that out. They don't overheat. Being hydraulic, these ones are still pretty easy to use, even with just a couple of fingers. And they're one of the few rim brakes that I've seen that actually have like an adjustment right here. So as the pads wear, you can adjust it on the fly. Now, one of the disadvantages to rim brakes, of course, is that you go through water, or mud, or rocks. It can kind of end up getting on your brake pads, versus a disc brake for off-road applications. It's a little bit higher up, it's out of harm's way. So that's kind of the difference. But as far as rim brakes go, these are kind of top of the line. Which is neat. You got the ergonomic grips here. You got this cool bell. Look at that, like they like moved the bell onto the clip. I think that's neat. And you've also got this Dynamo right here that powers your front and your rear light, like LED setups. And they've got like a stand mode, so as you stop the bike, there's like a capacitor and it stays lit up. The front one is really cool, actually. As soon as you spin this, it like flashes. It's really, let's try to like demonstrate this. There we go. So that's pretty cool. Solid kickstand. We've got this sensor here that's measuring your speed, like the little magnet. We've got this nice rack, standard size tubing, including this little sprung locker, little block out area. So if you have panniers, they're gonna work really well. You've even got this built-in wheel lock, right? So a piece of metal goes through here, and it just keeps the bike from getting wheeled away. And this is something that you could use quickly if you were just parking it outside of a deli or whatever. You could engage that. And what's cool is it uses the same lock as the battery. So that's another point. I mean, it's just really high quality. Like the fact that they use the same key across all of the bike. You've got this really beautiful display. And it's kind of permanently fixed here, so it's not something that you could take off real easy, but it's just non-obtrusive, and they've done a breakout so that all the dials are over here. You've even got a pump built in. So yeah, I just, you start to appreciate the attention to detail, the fact that all the wires are run through the frame, and they've even got these reflective sidewalls on the tires. it's a safe bike. It's a high quality bike. This is the kind of bike that you could use like a car, and it's going to go super, super far, in part because it's using a mid-drive, and that leverages the gears in the rear. It's only pedal assist, which means you've got to be adding to the system to make it go, and it's sort of a torque sensing system, so as you push harder, it responds really fluidly. It's not jerky at all. And again, you're going to get that range. So let me just hit the motor specs. We got the mid-drive motor right here, 350 watt, pretty standard, but amplified by the gears that you're using. If it's a low gear, this thing is going to climb really well. If it's a high gear, you're going to reach those higher top speeds. 20 mile per hour cutoff in the US, 15 mile per hour in Europe. The battery pack here, super large, 540 watt hours, so it's 36 volt, 15 amp hours, and it is removable. So, you know, you unlock it right here and it sort of tips out. But if you want, you can still charge this thing on the bike. So if you park the bike inside your house or whatever. And this whole setup, you'll notice it's like as low and center on the bike as you can get. And it's pretty minimal, you know, it doesn't take up that much room. One of the downsides that, you know, I've touched on before, they didn't put like a water bottle braze on anywhere. So it's like, where do you put your water bottle? I feel like that's just like something simple that they could have added here, and maybe you could put it in your bag, or maybe you're wearing a Camelback, but this is a commuter bike, right? And it'd be nice if they had water bottle mounts. This stem is adjustable, and you can see they've got like a little dial here. They've just gone the distance, like with all the little readouts and stuff. Even the interface right here is really cool. You can change from kilometers per hour to miles per hour. You got a really precise battery indicator right there. And then you essentially change levels of assist here. So right now I'm in power, I can go down to sport or eco. So I've got, you know, those three to choose from, or off, basically, where you're still getting the display feedback, but no assist. I think that's kind of it. You know, there's a lot to say about this bike. It's beautiful. It's got the different sizes, the wheels. It's just like, you know, attention to detail all over the place. Impulse 2 system, even more powerful and smooth than the old ones. You got the fenders, completely ready to take this thing out and do some commuting. So let's hear the motor. Nice kickstand. It's pretty quiet, so in order to do this, I'm going to turn it up to power mode, and I'm going to just start pedaling. Pretty good upright position, ergonomic, comfortable. And right now I'm not pedaling very hard at all, and the motor's not kicking in. And then I put more force, and that torque sensor senses, and it's pretty responsive. So here I'm going to do some response tests. And here's changing gears. I'm just going to switch through on the Nexus hub, and we'll listen for the motor to cut out. Yeah, it works pretty well. You know, it's nice that they added that feature. Even though on like a hub like this, internally geared hub, maybe it's less of an issue, it's still going to extend the life of that hub and the gearing system that you use. So Impulse 2 is pretty impressive. Obviously, I really like this bike. It's easy to appreciate with, you know, so much attention to detail and custom molded battery, and just everything really fits and looks beautiful on this bike. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know, you're going to go the distance with that 15 amp hour battery pack and that mid-drive system. So yeah, that is the Kalkhoff Agattu Impulse with Impulse 2 system. For the full write-up on this with pictures and more, check out ElectricBikeReview.com. I'll see you there.